are live. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Bunker Office Hours, a weekly live show brought to you by the team at Bunker Labs, a national network of veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs dedicated to helping the military-connected community start and grow their own businesses. I'm your host today, Iron Mike Stedman, joined by my colleague, Amy Morrison, and we have a special guest today from Macy's. How do I pronounce this again? Sorry, Kayla Hamidi. My apologies, Kayla. I just had to practice y'all before we went live because I didn't want to butcher the name. So before we get started talking about with our guests, I'm gonna go ahead and have Amy tell everybody what's going on in the bunker in the coming weeks.
Alrighty. So this week we've got two events continuing our Hail and Farewell series, welcoming the new cohort of veterans and residents and our old cohort moving on. We've got two in-person events this week on Thursday, 5 p.m. Central in Madison. We've got a Bunker Connect. And on also on Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific in Los Angeles. We have Hail and Farewell. So those are the two events this week. And for more information, go to chapters.bunkerlabs.org.
I don't know about you, Amy, but when I look at social media and I see all the people posting the videos and the pictures and everything, it seems like this really good energy that's going on within the bunker right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one in Austin looked amazing. I mean, they all looked amazing, but particularly the one in Austin, Texas looked great. There've been a bunch. And we've got a couple that have happened virtually in the last week or so, and those were awesome as well. It's always nice to see new faces in the bunker community.
Yeah, so all those business ideas y'all been cooking up during the pandemic, right? Some of y'all been fighting the fight alone. Take advantage of this opportunity to get out and get them around the community. I know I'm fired up about it. I mean, as soon as I get a chance, I'm looking forward to going to an event. But again, I think just coming out of this pandemic, people talk about mental health, the lack of community, all this kind of stuff. So I'm seeing a lot of renewed energy. People are just so fired up. A year and a half is a long time to not be around your community. So please take advantage of that and just follow us on make sure you're checking the emails, make sure you're checking the social to get these events. But what we're here to talk about today is we got our guest, Kayla Hamidi from Macy's and the Salute Those Who Serve campaign. She's the coordinator of cause and execution at Macy's Inc. And Kayla, there's something I want to tell you is back in 2018, I was actually featured in the Salute to Serve campaign. We had a whole video shoot scheduled at Macy's. I went there. I got a stylist. Clearly, I didn't take advantage of it today. But, they gave me a nice blazer, some shoes. I mean, and it was really cool because they tried to fit me based on, my personality. Like I'm in inner city Newark. I'm a boxing coach, so I didn't want to look too corporate. But it was a really fun campaign, and I was so honored to be featured in it. So, again, welcome to Office Hours. We're so happy to have you.
Awesome. And thanks for the intro. And that's really awesome to hear that you were part of the 2018 styling event. That was 1 year before my time. But yeah, I know our stylists do phenomenal work, and that was a really fun event, or so I heard. So glad to hear that you were a part of it. But I'm very excited to chat through our Macy's Salutes Those Who Serve campaign with everyone today. It's actually a campaign that we started back in 2018. It includes our two charity partners, so Bunker Labs, as well as Blue Star Families. We've actually, since our partnership began in 2018, we've raised about $2.5 million for both organizations, so about $1.2 million each. And this year's campaign is a little bit different. So for the first time ever, we've been able to introduce online. So previously, we had in-store roundup where for the full month of July, customers could come into their Macy's stores, round up their purchases to the nearest dollar, and then donate their change to both Bunker Labs and Blue Star Families. And then 100% of the funds would benefit both and be split evenly. But this year we've been able to introduce online donations. So for the full month of July, customers can come into Macy's, round up their purchase in store, and then if they'd like to also donate in larger dollar increments, so like $1, $5, 20, all the way up to $100 increments. They can also opt to do that online, which is really great. And it's actually the first year that we've been able to introduce online roundups. So a little bit of, I can get some background around our campaign and the partnership. We started out doing a donation for discount campaign. Customers could come in. They could, for a 25% discount, they would get a 20% discount for donating set dollar increments, and they would benefit both organizations. And now that we've switched to Roundup, it's actually been really great. We've gotten a lot of our colleagues to be more involved in the campaign. And that's actually one thing that's been really great to see with this campaign in particular. I mean, at Macy's, we run Roundup campaigns all year long. But this campaign in particular, we've seen a huge amount of colleague engagement, just knowing that obviously the veteran population and military families make up a decent chunk of our colleague population. So for example, we'll post sort of portal articles and stories around each campaign. And with this campaign in particular, when we see those portal article stories, we see a massive amount of likes and comments on those different articles. So it's just really great knowing that this campaign is one that really resonates with our colleagues in particular. And a few of the different ways that we sort of try to activate around our campaign. So I know I mentioned sort of the fundraising mechanism, which is primarily that Roundup and the online donations. But I think what's really cool about our partnership, and it's something that we try to replicate throughout our campaigns. At the end of the day, we want to do a lot more than just donate their dollars and then to labs and lose our families.
I apologize. It seems like your audio is coming in a little choppy. Is anybody else hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if your plug kind of came out. We apologize, y'all. Working through some technical difficulties. I'm a grunt. I'm not an IT guy, so bear with us. I just want to make sure that you guys are able to hear what she's, the information that she's dropping. Can we try again?
Maybe if I hold my mic really close, does that make it any better?
Works.
Okay.
A little bit. Still a little choppy. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to hold my mic closer.
Thank you.
Which part did you guys hear up to, or was it all choppy?
Not all of it, just towards the end when I cut you off. So if you could just kind of pick back up on about why y'all are seeing a lot of success with this year.
Sure. So we're seeing, as I mentioned, a ton of success in terms of colleague engagement. One thing that's crucial for all of our campaigns is having our colleagues really understand our charity partners and their work and their mission, because ultimately at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to be talking to the customer to tell them about this campaign at the register so they can round up. So for us, it's absolutely crucial that our colleagues both understand our charity partners' work and they're really passionate about it. And that's why I was saying it's been phenomenal just to see the level of engagement and passion that our colleagues have for this campaign in particular. And that's the level of engagement, as I mentioned, we see across the board in terms of they'll post about it on internal communication sort of portal. It's like Facebook, we call it Yammer. So they'll post photos with, a lot of times we'll send like props for them to use for the campaign, just to increase awareness and post on our portal. So again, we see a ton of engagement there. We see it on our portal articles. So it's been a really great just partnership to have in terms of our colleagues being really engaged around your work and your mission. And then I think I was just talking about how we try to make the campaign feel like a really full campaign and how it's not just, writing a check and collecting funds at the end of the day. So apart from just getting our colleagues engaged, we also do stuff like this to get engagement from our charity partners. We actually had a company-wide webcast, sort of lunch and learn series last week, where we had representatives from Bunker Labs, Blue Star Families. We also got to include Bunker Labs veteran and entrepreneur Nancy Preston. I'm sure you all know her from Milk Money Kitchens. She's phenomenal. She's actually featured on our campaign collateral for this year's campaign. We got to organize an amazing photo shoot with Nancy, as well as the Brown family, who are from Blue Star Families. So we got some great assets and images that we were able to highlight across all of our marketing assets and just campaign collateral. And so Nancy also joined that lunch and learn. So that's another example of how we're able to make sure that our colleagues not only hear from us about your mission and your work, but to hear from you all firsthand. has been something that really helps, again, just to solidify that colleague engagement and understanding around your work to then be able to ultimately get those customer donations in. And just being able to highlight real life, beneficiaries of your work has really just helped to humanize, I think, the work that you all do and just be able to share more of that firsthand experience. So that was another awesome thing, being able to include Nancy in the actual campaign imagery.
I was just going to say, for those of you who don't know Nancy Preston, add her on LinkedIn. She's an amazing human being, West Point graduate, former Army officer, started a company called Milk Money Kitchens, which was a commercial co-working kitchen space in New York City. Obviously, the pandemic brought its own set of challenges, but she has been in the fight with that venture since I entered the Bunker Lab ecosystem, well before it. And she has just such an amazing give back component to her venture. She was in my veterans and residents cohort, I believe. And right off the bat, she was like, hey, Mike, if you need help with anything, let me know. Always making time for entrepreneurs, teaching them finance, helping out her makers. So I think she is really the embodiment of that veteran entrepreneur spirit that we have at Bunker Lab. So shout out to you, Nancy Preston. I'm so happy she was able to be featured in the Macy's campaign.
Oh, yeah. And the photos from that campaign, she looks like a complete badass. They were awesome. She also, just speaking about her give back component, we were able to partner with our fireworks team, and they had put together sort of like a mini docu-series for the virtual fireworks experience this year. And the whole theme around the documentary was around our heroes and giving back. And so we were actually able to feature Nancy in that mini doc as well. And we just highlighted all of the work that she had done around giving back, especially during the pandemic with Milk Money Kitchens. So that was really cool too. And then just lastly, for the in-store piece, just to give that last bucket of the campaign that we try to highlight, because we really want to make sure that we're able to bring the campaign, to our colleagues and in stores as well. So it's actually perfect timing that today is the day that I'm talking about this. For this year's in-store experience, we're partnering with you all as well as Blue Star Families to give 3 room makeovers across the country. So military families, as well as a Bunker Labs veteran in Chicago. Her name's Rashi. And so today is the day that we're surprising her with the home office makeover at Macy State Street. So the team actually, based on the dimensions of our home, they're also working with Moving with the Military, their show, and they do makeovers all around the country for military families. So they built an indoor demo of what her home office makeover will look like at Macy State Street, and they're surprising her with that reveal today. And then Macy's colleagues, as well as some volunteers from Bunker and Blue Star Families, are then going to go in and move all of the items and set them up in Rashi's actual home, and then bring her back in tomorrow to see the home setup. So they're going to surprise her with that today. So that's what we're doing for the in-store piece this year, and we're really excited about it, and we can't wait to see the photos and videos from that experience. But yeah, just pretty much an overview of the campaign is we really do try to build that more holistic experience, just because we want to make sure that our colleagues understand your work, that they're passionate about it, that we can extend that to our customers, and really just bring the impact home. And Bunker has been just a phenomenal partner and really helping us build this campaign together over the past few years, be able to come back and share the impact of your work with our colleagues and customers, being able to directly connect with our colleagues. You all do a phenomenal job of that. And yeah, we're excited to see where we land with this year's fundraising total.
Well, we appreciate you sharing all that information to our listeners. Can you tell us, for those that are tuning in, how can they directly support this campaign right now?
Sure. So if you go into your Macy's store, you can round up your change automatically at the register and donate to Blue Star Families and Bunker Labs. And as I mentioned, the funds will be split evenly between both. You can also go to Macys.com if you'd like to donate in larger dollar increments. So again, those increments can range from $1, $5, all the way up to $100. And yeah, you can donate online those funds will also be split evenly between both organizations.
Awesome. So y'all heard it. Y'all heard it directly. Y'all get out there and support. Go to Macy's, make your purchase, get you some pants, get you a blazer, something, and go ahead and donate to this campaign. Again, it's a great cause, and the only way we're able to offer all the kind of programming and stuff we are able to here at Bunker is through amazing supporters like Macy. So, Caleb, thanks again for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And again, I look forward to seeing everybody over to Macy's.
Yeah,
now
thanks for having me.
Yeah, so now we're going to transition with the little time we have left. One of the reasons we do this platform, and I want to reinforce this, is this allows us to engage you all out there. At the end of the day, like, we're here to serve the veteran spouse community. And so one of the things that I ask those that are tuning in live, what is the biggest problem that you're facing in your business currently? Like, what is keeping you up at night? What's the biggest challenge you have? Go ahead and put that in the comments. And while we do that, we're going to talk about a book recommendation for this week. So as I'm waiting for your comments, the book I'm reading this week, right, is John Lee Dumas's book. So I got stacks of books everywhere, y'all. The Common Path to Uncommon Success, a roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment. I'll tell you, this is my second time reading this book, and it is really good, particularly if you're an early stage entrepreneur. You're still trying to find your big idea. That's what he calls it. And then he gives you a roadmap on how to build upon that big idea, leveraging content, making sure that you validate the business model, building your audience, building your sales funnel, building your systems. You know, it's a short little, I don't know, a little over 200 pages. But I find myself revisiting this book mainly because I handle the podcast, The Transition, here at Bunker Labs. And so going back to just kind of re-examine, you know, how to find our ideal audience, which is those of you that are tuning in, but really just kind of getting a little bit more refined with regards to how we get the content out. So highly recommend this book, The Common Path to Uncommon Success. Amy, you got any book recommendations or anything you want to tell the people while we see if any more questions come in?
I am not a big book reader. I'm more of a podcast. I'm more of an audio file. I don't actually have a recommendation currently, but I was going to ask, how often do you revisit books like that?
That is a great question. So I'll tell you, I just started probably within the last 2 years, not even the last 2 years, really within the last year. You know, I had to learn that it was okay to like basically read books like Netflix. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. A lot of y'all, you know, a lot of us go to school, right? And we were like taught that we have to finish every book we start, you know? And then like once you finish a book, it's so daunting. You're like, I don't want to go back and reread that book, you know? But I think as I've grown as an entrepreneur, you know, it's less about just reading at the surface level and more about reading so that I can retain the information and be able to explain it to others on platforms like this, on like the Transition podcast. So if there's a book that's like really good, I'll reread it like as many times as I can until I like, bam, I know that information. You know?
Do you ever give up on books? Like you get like maybe a chapter or two and then you're like, I'm not feeling this.
Most of the time, not, and mainly because I look on Amazon and I review. I'm a nerd. I listen to podcasts of the author. I look at reviews online before I decide whether or not I want to read that book.
Cool. Yeah, I have had a few book recommendations, and then I'm like a chapter, and I'm like, I can't with this.
Yeah, one of the LinkedIn users says the average millionaire reads one book per month. So I don't want to we're not just keep rambling on here. One thing I do want to ask y'all though is, again, if you have a question, right? And like I say this to all those of you that listen to Transition Podcast, now is your time to kind of ask your questions if you're feeling stuck in your venture in some kind of aspect. You know, we don't have all the answers, but what we do have the ability to go back as a team and figure out, hey, how can we best support, you know, these kind of entrepreneurs going through this? So if you have a question, go ahead and ask it now before it's too late. Otherwise, we're going to continue with closing out the show. We got a special plug. Amy, you want to talk about the JP Morgan?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So we recently partnered with JP Morgan Chase Commercial Banking with a new launch of our CEO Circle program. So this one's a little different than previous CEO Circles we may have done in the past. We've partnered with JP Morgan Chase to do a year-long cohort of military-connected entrepreneurs, obviously, who are disrupting industries and are poised for growth. So this one, we're looking at candidates who are military veterans or military spouses, our community, on the executive leadership team of companies who are operating in the diversified industries or technology disruptive commerce. We have more information on our website about what those things mean if you're not sure. Also, we're looking for companies that have an annual revenue of $5 million or more, or $5 million in capital raised, with also high growth potential. So these are companies who are a little bit more further along than some of the companies we've worked with in the past, which makes this, which is part of what makes this cohort a little different and a little special. So it's going to be a year-long cohort. It's going to be, there's going to be special events. I think we're calling them fly-in forums. So there's going to be 4 events where you fly to different cities. I think the launch is in Washington, D.C. And basically you get mentorship, advisor opportunities with JP Morgan Chase Commercial Banking and other like Fortune 500 advisors. And there'll be special speakers, TBD, at these fly-in forums across the country. So more information on the website, bunkerlabs.org/CEO-circle.
Awesome. Thanks, Amy. So make sure y'all take advantage of that. Again, if you haven't noticed, we've kind of moved to a cohort model here at Bunker Labs. We've got the CEO circles, we've got the veterans and residents, right? We've got our ambassadors. I'm excited about this program, especially for our high growth entrepreneurs. Did you want to say anything else, Amy?
Yeah, I forgot to say the applications are open through August.
Perfect.
August 30th. So yeah, get on that. Even if you don't think you're quite there yet, we do definitely recommend you apply, especially if you think you might be close or in the next year maybe you're there, because we'll definitely have other opportunities if you can't quite make this one.
Perfect. All right, y'all. I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors, our virtual event sponsors, the MetLife Foundation and the Guynet Foundation. MetLife Foundation is committed to supporting veteran, military spouse entrepreneurs. In addition, the foundation also provides mentorship and financial health resources to veterans and military spouses transitioning into the workforce. A Community Thrives, a program funded by the Gannett Foundation and part of the USA Today Network, invests in community building initiatives across the country with the goal of creating positive change through service to historically marginalized or under-resourced groups. None of this would be possible without our amazing sponsors at the MetLife Foundation and the Gannett Foundation. So we appreciate you all. For everyone that's tuning in, I need you to do me a favor. If you haven't done so already, head over and subscribe to the Transition Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast and hosting platform. We've transitioned the podcast to a weekly drop. Providing this great content for you all out there. If there's an issue that you're facing in your business between the blog, between the podcast, between our free programming and the cohort, we have this brain trust within the Bunker ecosystem to help support you all. So do me a favor, make sure you download that podcast. And if you want to get plugged into the Bunker Lab community and you haven't done so already, head over to bunkerlabs.org, sign up for that newsletter, and attend one of our networking events, either in person or virtual. From there, get connected at Bunker Online, our social network for the military connected community, where Bunker Lab staff helps make connections to increase your opportunities. Amy, it's a pleasure being on with you here again today. Special thanks again to our sponsor, Kayla from Macy's. And until next time, everyone, peace, love. Have a great rest of your week.